April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. While people may hear about child abuse cases on the news and they really feel upset, most don't know what happens to the children or really what to do about it. This morning, Forrest Leon, Executive Director of the Institute for Attachment and Child Development, joins us with more on what his group is doing to help children. And this is such an important topic, so thank you for coming on the show. What are the effects of child abuse?
Well, when it happens during infancy and toddlerhood, infants are counting on adults to keep them safe because they can't do it. And so when they're hurt, when they're neglected and abused, the brain gets trained in a way to survive. And so that's fight, flight, or freeze. So when kids are hurt and left and their brain gets hardwired in a fear response. So the brain stays hardwired in that until there's a way to turn that around and make them feel safe again.
Could even lead into adulthood, possibly.
It could.
So tell me about the reactive attachment disorder. What is that?
It's been around for about 30 years. It's a reaction to abuse. So the simplest way to understand it is that, we all know what infants and toddlers need. They need care, they need love, they need touch, they need safety, which we take for granted. But kids that are abused and neglected, they don't have that safety. So when they cry and they get hurt or they get left, eventually they just shut down and don't cry anymore because when they cry they get hurt. So they become failure to thrive kids. So their brains get hardwired in that response to relationships, touch, becomes danger instead of being comfort.
So sad.
It is sad.
And there are many misconceptions about this disorder. Can you tell me a few?
Well, people still think that when abuse happens prior to long-term memory, which is established around age 5, that all you do is love these kids, give them a safe home, and they'll bounce out of it, bounce back, or they'll outgrow it, and that just isn't true. That's just like saying the first 3 years of life that is so critical isn't important.
Right.
So basically we put kids in institutions and not have relationships and they'd be okay. That just isn't true.
That's not true, absolutely. So what happens to the children that are diagnosed with this disorder?
Well, typically the kids that are diagnosed with this come from foster care. So when kids get neglected or abused, the court takes custody, the kids go into temporary care, and then they try to reunify the kids with the birth parents, and typically they don't change, and so kids end up going back and forth between their birth parents and foster care, and so they develop this sense that I'm not safe anywhere. So the system actually helps create the disorder, not on purpose, but by creating safety and permanency, they get bounced all around. And so they learn that don't trust adults.
How can it be prevented?
Well, I think that we have to get in early and help the birth parents that have this disorder too.
Oh, so it's handed down to generation.
It's a legacy. It goes generational. And so if we go in and help parents, fix their own response to early trauma, then kids get to stay with their birth parents. But instead we remove them, shame them,
take their kids away,
the rights,
hurt them
take
more
their
again.
kids away, and we put them in well-meaning families, but the well-meaning families don't know what they're getting into.
So the Institute for Attachment and Child Development, tell me a little bit about it and what you do.
We're a nonprofit treatment organization here in Colorado and Wyoming since 1972. And all of our kids that come to our program are adopted kids. So in other words, they've come out of foster care or they've come out of poorly run orphanages around the world, and they go into well-meaning families with this disorder, and the families aren't prepared, they aren't trained, clinicians aren't really trained in this disorder, and so these families don't know what to do. So they provide love and nurturance and care, which is important, but to these kids, that's the danger. So what they need the most, they push away the most.
So tell me how we can learn more and what's your mission?
Well, our mission is to inform the world and transform the lives of these kids so that they can have happy lives and change the legacy of abuse and neglect.
That's a good mission.
And so we have an organization here. We have a website that's full of information at instituteforattachment.org. But we are a treatment program for these kids specifically. They come to us from all over the country.
You have a free workshop coming up that we can learn more about.
Yeah, I'll be at the University of Wyoming April 17th. You can go to our website and register for that.
This is such an important topic. Again, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. If you'd like to learn more, you can attend a free workshop entitled Understanding Reactive Attachment Disorder. It's Tuesday, April 17th from 6 to 8 p.m. on the University of Wyoming campus in Laramie. Please learn more. Go to the events page on their website at instituteforattachment.org/events. They're located locally in Littleton, and you can also call 303-674-1910. We'll be right back.